Hey, what is up guys? Welcome back to Life on the Wrist. I hope you guys are doing well today. We're going to be talking about 5 mistakes that I think I'd like to share with you if you are looking about getting into watches. These are 5 mistakes that happened to me as a collector, and I think it happened to just about every collector who's been interested in watches. These are 5 things I just want people to be aware of, that these are things that you should try and avoid if you are looking to collect watches, or if you are trying to amass a collection that perhaps you're hitting some roadblocks along the way. And these are kind of the ways that I would try and navigate through these 5 mistakes or 5 potholes that can happen along your watch collecting journey. There are certainly many more mistakes. We've made other videos where we've talked about some other things that you can try and avoid, but these are really my just 5 things that I've kind of come up over the last couple months that I want to make sure I bring to light. So that's going to be the topic for today. But before I get into that, if you are new to the channel, be sure to hit the subscribe button and like this video. It really does help us out. So, like I said, these are 5 kind of things that have come up over the last couple months, and I want to make sure that I bring them to light. So the first thing, and this is a very, very key thing, and I think a lot of people forget about this, is when you want to collect watches, you need to take your time. Don't buy watches just to make a collection to say that you have all of these watches. A story that came to light for me is I looked at, I was on Instagram, and as you do, you're scrolling through, and someone had sent us a message to look at this other channel's collection, and this channel had a collection of over 400 watches, and they ranged in different prices and different brands. But what I found is that there really wasn't so much of a direction with the collection. It just seemed like the individual was collecting watches just because they wanted to have a bunch of things that they could show, like, hey, look, I've got a collection of over 400 watches. And there's nothing wrong with doing that. I just think that you aren't going to get as much enjoyment out of it if you are just trying to collect the material good. I think something that is really important is actually the journey that you go along when it comes to researching, making connections with watch collectors, and kind of making the story of how you came across how you built your collection. And so, this person, I think, was just about having a bunch of pieces in their collection that they could, I don't want to say show off, but kind of just have and say, hey, look, 400 watches, that's what I've got. And so I think the biggest thing that I would say to this person is, are these watches really the ones that you want? Or are you just buying $200 watches that maybe don't have that much significance in your collection, but you're just doing it because you have a bunch of pieces? So I think the biggest thing here is take your time. Make sure that you buying pieces that you want to have in your collection, and you're enjoying the time that you are spending trying to find those pieces. The second tip that I want to talk about is you should build a collection that you want. Don't try and impress people with your collection, or try to tick a bunch of boxes with the watches that you have. I guess my second point kind of counteracts my first point. Maybe this person did have a collection that they wanted, but anyway, so build a collection that you want. A lot of times people will get into watches and realize, there are some staple watches that collectors deem as must-haves for a watch collector's collection. And when someone gets into watches, they're like, okay, I'm gonna kind of call them out, right? I have to have a Omega Seamaster, or Omega Speedmaster. I have to have a Rolex Submariner. I have to have a Seiko SKX. And those 3 pieces just on their own, people think that those are the things that they have to have immediately. But what's really important about when you are collecting watches is to really know what type of watch you like as a collector. There's a collector, he did a Talking Watches on Hodinkee. His name is Ronnie Madhvani. He has a really great Instagram, and if you look at his collection are typically smaller, dressier pieces that have interesting case designs from some of the the world's best watch manufacturers, Patek Philippe, Audemars Piguet, Vacheron Constantin, etc. And I think this is a great example of someone who really took the time. They stepped back and said, I don't want to be the collector who has the Omega Speedmaster, the Rolex Submariner, the Seiko SKX, and then moving into an Audemars Piguet Royal Oak. I want to find what I like, which is interesting case designs and dressier pieces, and that's the collection that I'm going to build. And I think that in itself shows, it's a great example of building a collection that you truly want, and that comes with taking your time and understanding, hey, this is what I like, this is what I don't like. And I think there is something to say about, you know, maybe buying a Speedmaster, wearing it on your wrist and saying, I don't really like this, and then, you know, maybe reselling it. That's a way that you can take your time, but really create a collection that will speak to you, you will enjoy the most, because ultimately the collection is about you. You have to be the one who enjoys it. The third tip I have is to enjoy the hunt and make sure to do your research. Enjoying the hunt is kind of a way of me saying, it's kind of builds off of building a collection that you want. Don't build a collection that you're trying to impress people with. Enjoy researching your pieces. Once you trade that Omega Speedmaster and say, hey, I don't really like this, I like dressier pieces, then you can start saying, okay, now I'm gonna research dressier pieces. Maybe I do like these design cues from Omega. Let me see if I can find those in dressier pieces. And then you slowly start to research your watches. You understand their histories, what watches that you might like, and then you can start, you know, finding dealers or finding collectors who may have those, and then really building connections within the watch community. And that is how you can enjoy. I think there's a misconception that you have to own the pieces in order to be happy. John Goldberger, Ava Montanelli, is famous for saying, the best part about collecting is trying to find the pieces. It isn't about owning them. Once you get it, your journey's over, right? You have the watch, you can wear it and you can enjoy it, but really the hunt to try and find it is what's important. And I guarantee that if you take your time, understand what you like, and then start to enjoy the hunt and finding the pieces, you'll enjoy collecting a lot better. My fourth tip is to try on the watch. It seems like an obvious one, but try on the watch. And I'm gonna extend this as well. You should try on as many watches as you possibly can. The reason why this is in this list is because I think that a watch is obviously something you're gonna wear. Today I'm wearing my Memo Seal. I felt like wearing it, but I also have this Look Ultra triple calendar moon phase, which is actually available on our store if you're interested. And this is a 40mm watch. This is a 35mm watch, right? They fit completely different, but luckily I tried them both on and I realized that these types of watches fit me. This doesn't have any lugs, so it fits a little bit smaller. This obviously has lugs, and this is kind of my sweet spot. 35 to, I'd say 38mm is kind of my sweet spot when it comes to watches. But I tried them on and I realized what type of watch fits my wrist the best. And that's why I think trying on as many watches as you possibly can will help you understand what watches fit your wrist and also what you like seeing on your wrist. A great example is like this has no lugs, it's 40mm. Initially I probably would have been like, whoa, it's too big, but because it doesn't have any lugs, it fits smaller. And so I know that non-lugged watches I should look into because they might fit my wrist a little bit better. Another thing is that I know there are countless collectors who will say, I really want this watch, I really want this watch. They get it, they try it on, and they realize this doesn't fit my wrist, this doesn't fit my needs, this doesn't fit my style. And so try on as many watches as you possibly can. This can be as easy as going to a boutique saying, hey, can I try something on? And if they are a well-run boutique, they will, of course, they will say, yes, try these on, because that will obviously create brand equity. They'll realize that you had a good time there, and hopefully you'll come back to buy something if you aren't in the store to buy something. So try on your watches. My fifth and last tip when it comes to things that you need to make sure you do and things you should try and avoid is you have to wear the watches in your collection. Watches are obviously a time-telling device, mechanical device that you wear on your wrist or have in your pocket if it's a pocket watch, and it tells you the time. That is the ultimate goal of a watch. It is to tell you the time and keep accurate time. There are a lot of people who have watches that they put away and they don't touch because they are afraid of damaging it, or the resale value might decline if they wear it too often. And I understand that side of collecting, and I think that's a little bit more nuanced, but for the general collector, don't shy away from wearing your watches. There's something that you should enjoy. You should, every time you look at your watch, you should think of the journey that you went on in order to acquire that watch. And you should look down and say, wow, that was such a great journey. I'm so happy that I have this, and I'm so happy that I get to wear it. You will find that so much more enjoyment if you actually wear the watches in your collection than if you just let them sit in your watch box and just sit there. It also helps keep the mechanism moving. If you aren't winding it, the oils can seize up, and that can obviously stop the movement from running. So another little mechanical thing that you should also keep in mind when thinking about that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you found these tips helpful. Let me know in the comment section below which tip you think is the most important, and also if you have any other tips for watch collectors. It would be great to share those with the people who are watching this video, so be sure to head over to the comment section and let me know. Also, if you are new to the channel and you haven't done it already, be sure to subscribe to the channel if you are new here. Also, if you wouldn't mind smashing that like button for the YouTube algorithm, it really does help us out. And with that said, guys, thank you so much for watching, and until next time.